Obviously, 2 players doesn't seem too difficult in terms of organization, but so far we are -1 player, so appreciate your patience. Let's talk about some stats. We've had 17 fight nights, and in it we've had 4 orc winners.
Yeah.
Kiwikake took 1 win off of Hunter. Hitman is a 2-time winner against Starshaped and Night End. So he's had experience defeating European players. And Cash has been a 1-time winner. He's currently our sitting King of the Hill, King of Fight Night. He beat Cruncher last week in an American player. Cruncher, top 2 America. Hitman, the other top 2 America. I didn't realize we actually did that, Kendrick.
Yeah.
To have Cash face off against the 2 best American players.
Yeah, it's actually funny, and I think it's okay if we talk about this now. We actually wanted to get a mirror match. The first person that we contacted wasn't Hitman initially, though. We tried to talk to Spiral, too, who's another very strong orc player from Germany. And he wasn't available, unfortunately. He was very stoked and he was very hyped about the opportunity to show his skill again. But he said that the day was a little bit unfortunate. So our next natural choice to find another strong orc mirror matchup was then Hitman, of course, because not only was Hitman considered to be equal or on par of Cash, but he's also very popular with our audience, which is admittedly a little bit, late for European viewers and perfect for American viewers. So I think we just did a lot of things right with this matchup, or at least we hope so. But of course, we never know who's going to accept. We always have a pool of 2 or 3 players that we ask at the same time, and then, we go from one to the other.
We are also one of the best opportunities for Hitman to show his skill right now, since he got kicked from the other tournament that he was playing in.
Yeah, very true.
Did you hear about that?
No, I actually did not.
Hitman was in a tournament organized by a French player caster. When he beat said French player caster on stream, he kicked him from the tournament.
What?
He just kicked him out. Yeet!
The beauty of being an organizer and player at the same time, I guess.
Yeah. So, actually, Hitman beat me 7-0 in a set of practice games, so can we kick him out too? Or
Yeah, I think so, Grubby. I think we're gonna put you in, and you're
Well, he's not here now, so maybe I should start warming up my fingers. But no, hopefully he will make it here, guys. An unexpectedly longer going game, possibly. But it'll be nice to see who can start the rest of their legacy so far in Fight Night. Now, let's talk about the Orc Mirror matchup a little bit.
Sure.
Orc Mirror has gone through many different fluctuations in the meta. Way back when, in 2003, it was Masscasters, Reign of Chaos.
Oh, the good days.
3-hero Masscaster, yeah. Then, very soon after, Frozen Throne, it was all about Farseer, Firelord. Lots of summons, create a really cheap mana boosted army, and then just mass Kodos. Kodos would eat anything and everything, and they were too tanky to easily die. And then in order to deal with the Kodos, people would make Demolishers, which do good damage to Kodos, which are also big, stupid, and slow, unarmored bonus damage. So you had this weird matchup where it was all Kodos and demos. It was bananas. It was really good. But very soon afterwards, we started getting this era of Blade Master and Shadowhunter, with a combination of Grunts, Raiders, and Kodos, and Walkers. And it was a slow-paced game usually. Every now and then, Blade Shadow would assassinate the other Shadowhunter, and that would really just snowball and spiral the game out of control for one of the players, especially if there's a mismatch in skill. But very often, we would go to 2-2 upgrades, 2 attack, 2 armor for Grunts and Raiders. We'd go to tier 3. Sometimes the gold ran out. We would get triple hero. 80, 90 food armies from one base was not uncommon. But recently, it has become a lot more aggressive. We see some short games in Orc versus Orc. This series, it could last 30 minutes, it could last 1.5 hours. That's how volatile potentially it could be. Games have become very aggressive between Orc mirrors.
Yeah, and very, very flexible too. We see a vast array of different strategies that can be applied. Only recently did I actually watch a couple of Orc mirror matches, and there's a couple of cool heroes that could make an appearance. Leading the charge in terms of non-orc natural heroes, I would say, is the Pit Lord. He's such a force, strong AoE damage with a cleave. He can he can really have a tremendous impact, become unstoppable later on with strong items, it almost feels like. So keep an eye out for that one. We see, of course, Blade Master. We see a lot of Shadow Hunter. But even a Farseer with combined tower rushes or just combined aggression is nothing unthinkable anymore, which if you had asked someone, let's say a year ago or so, they would have laughed at you if you mentioned Farseer.
Yeah, exactly. Farseer got a little boosted, a little bit more intelligent. Wolves are a little tankier. Blade Master's agility has been lost a little bit, so Farseer just has a little bit more sway over the Blade Master. And if you do a really quick rush, you interrupt the opponent's mining a little, their shop, you can have a very strong tower rush. And I see chat just got up.
I like it. All right, so yeah, guys, we have how many minutes do we have? We have 3 more minutes for Hitman to show up. If he doesn't show up, if he's still caught in traffic or still caught in reapplying to other tournaments, then we're gonna have to find another solution. I do not know actually what we're gonna do then. We have never had this situation before. I guess we're gonna have to decide on the fly.
Yeah, well, we can decide later. I mean, there's a few options. We'll figure it out. But most of all, the part that matters the most and hurts us the most is that we wouldn't be able to have a broadcast for you tonight if Hitman doesn't show up. So we'll figure that out. We appreciate your.
I think something we can definitely say, if you're okay with that, Grubby, too, if that works for you, is that if Hitman wasn't going to show up today, we wouldn't go full 2 weeks, maybe, and we would try to go next weekend.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, exactly. That. I mean, I think that would be fine.
Yeah.
We still need to find another player.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a player watching right now. You, 9 Spoons. You just you just cheered. Thank you very much for your cheer. You want to play? No, we probably need to find someone properly.
Yeah, definitely true. So yeah, anything that you personally enjoy about Orc vs. Orc the most, Grubby?
Yeah, it's besides the items that you can find, that's something that is not much under the control of players. There's a lot of thought behind all the creep routes, and it may not be easy to explain and commentate everything, but I have some experience with it. I can try, but there are ways to manage the luck and the chaos that can spring forth from various creeping decisions. So an effective Orc mirror game strategy plan thing involves plotting out every second of your creep route properly. So if I go for a creep camp early game that is near my base and I finish the whole thing, it's always going to roughly take me the same time. That means I will reach somewhere on the middle of the map at the designated time. If I arrive there 5 seconds before an opponent typically arrives there, because, for example, it's on my side of the map, I always go there, they know I go there, and they show up second. That's called a creep check, right? The opponent is going to start attacking me and I'll be hurt. And that's really bad. So typically, players will try to weight the statistical probability of everything that can happen that your opponent does in terms of popular creep routes, and then come up with a creep route that is engineered to have the highest statistical expected value based on all of those. So maybe I figure out that in my early creep camp, I'll take down 2 of the 3 creeps, and I get there early enough to the central point of contest that I can leave before I get creep jacked. Or maybe I go there 20 seconds later, and then I end up creep jacking him because he expects to creep jack me there, doesn't find me, and decides to start it himself in order to make the best use of his time. It's very interesting. But sadly, we're not going to see any of that, as I've just heard that sadly Hitman was not able to make it tonight. We haven't heard this from him, but he's not here. So, well, that sucks. Sorry, guys, but thanks for tuning in. We'll probably just hold it next week on Friday, correct?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best choice. So we give Cash the time to prepare for the new opponent that we're going to fight until then. It's really unfortunate. We've never had this in Fight Night before, so hope you guys understand that we can't change the situation right now. We tried to contact Hitman several times. He's online on Discord, but maybe he just forgot about it. Maybe he thought it was a different hour or whatever. So, yeah, Cash is going to take the victory here, and we're gonna see him again in on next weekend. We're gonna find him a worthy replacement, a worthy new challenger that is trying to snatch away the crown. Oh, he actually just messaged on Discord, Hitman.
Did he?
Yeah, he just showed up.
Oh.
Well, you know
Okay.
what? That's lucky for him.
Let's go.
Yeah,
I just started my stream. Let's go then.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that
What?
was actually a last-second save. I can't believe.
Okay, technically, well, we're not draconian, but technically
Yeah.
he was late.
Yeah.
But let's just do it. Let's give the people a show.
Yeah. If he hadn't shown up by the end of my speech, then we would have called it and be like, peace out, see you later.
It's a good thing you're long-winded, and so am I. Let's go then.
All right.
That's nice.
We just did the ultimate debate on chat. It
Yep.
was never, the game was never in doubt. We just did it to fool you.
All right.
We're gonna.
Very good.
Okay, so 3-minute delay. We just typed in chat so you guys know, and you guys know exactly what's going on. So that's cool. First map, by the way, is going to be Echo Isles. Hitman versus Cash, Orc versus Orc. And Echo Isles is... I think it really turns out to be my favorite map to cast and watch, because it's like a chessboard, you know, like a nice pattern of things you can do on the map. It's not so much of, you know, RNG like Twisted Meadows, where starting location and then you have tons of different items that could pop up. It's fairly manageable, don't you think?
Yeah, exactly. And even if you end up getting not the best items, this is the one map where you can accommodate for it a lot, Kendrick, because of that marketplace in the middle.
Yeah.
Where you can purchase Ring of Protection if you like, or more likely Claws of Attack, Circlet of Nobility, and so on. Because Blade Master stats are very important here.
That is very true. If players go for the Blade Master, of course. It's by no means set in stone in Orc Mirrors these days as to what your first or second or third choice is even going to be. A lot of people, they like their Blade Masters, you know, if you want to look for one player that really heavily relies on the international pro scene, it would be Fly, I think. He, compared to other Orc players, he still relies on Blade Master a lot. Not always to the greatest extent and efficiency, mind you, but Lin, for example, he's played a lot of different stuff lately. We see other players, of course, like Focus and even Infi, you know, also mixing it up quite a bit.
Yeah, so this does look like a Blade Master build for both of them. Not going with that Farseer. Cash has gone with a more open base structure, whereas Hitman, who always spends a lot of effort into the sense of his base, he's gone with that full wall off at the bottom of his base. A single entrance in front of the altar and the shop ceiling off the burrow. I like his base layout more. Cash's base is a bit more old school. It doesn't have the same level of thought into it. And, well, let's see if that gets abused at all. We used to see a lot of Blade Masters harassing each other's peons. And that could be a thing here, but there's also games where that doesn't come into play at all.
Yeah, and we forgot to mention, just real briefly, another Orc that is kind of shaking up the scene a little bit, and that is Kiwi. He's probably the one Orc that never goes for grunts, even in a mirror. So I wonder if we're going to see a little bit of a deviation in a more of a Kiwi-oriented style today as well.
Yeah, that we would have already seen the war mail. That's not going to happen. Maybe we'll have another Orc mirror sometime.
Yeah.
Both players are starting to creep, and they're going for the 3-3-3 camp, right?
Yeah.
Will they finish the whole thing, or will they go for the shop, which is finished for both of them? Looks like Cash will just get the Claws of Attack, go for the shop, sell TP, probably double heal solve, maybe a speed scroll, and then start guarding. Oh, only one heal solve. Okay, he wants that quicker second burrow. And now he's going for the marketplace. This serves the purpose of being able to buy items for one, maybe creep, and also guard it from the opponent.
Yeah.
Hitman, he's gone for a full creep, so he's level 1.7. And note how he could still be on time to creep jack Cash, even if Cash were to start the middle marketplace. So right now, Hitman is a little bit on top with his creep route.
That's
if
true.
Cash were to creep it, but he's not. He got a second claw, and he knows the timing, and he's gonna get that second burrow. And if you get the second, you get the third as well. This is a very experienced play here by Cash. He's sacrificing a grunt. Hitman gets all the way to level 2. Because he got that grunt, and all the creeps, but he loses both burrows in the process, and that costs a lot of lumber, and it costs him grunts as well.
Yeah, that's true, and also a lot of mana. On the Blade Master of Hitman now, he can probably afford only one Wind Walk, and that's about it. And the superior hero damage currently in for cash.
What the heck?
He has a Wind Walk, of course, but the blocks are real for now. Right now, so much damage dealt onto Cash's Blade Master, now forced to run away. But yeah, strong items, strong attacks, and that was enough to delay the food supply with the upcoming burrows a little bit. Now, what is Cash going to do here? He's healing while invisible. He's trying to cancel the War Mill, or at least damage it as much as possible.
He has been fully walled in, and it's very simple. You walk to the War Mill, you cancel it, then you Wind Walk, and you're safe. But Hitman, he needed absolutely every second of that amazing short-distance grunt block in order to delay the blade from getting to the War Mill, and then make sure that he's fully sealed in. Now, Cash, he's resigned himself to his death, but here's the thing. He is still Windwalked. He will be Windwalked for another 15 seconds. Warmill finishes in 10. So now Hitman needs to decide, let the Warmill finish, yes or no. And he's not going to let it finish because he doesn't want to be sealed into his own base. But with the claws of attack, he nearly gets out.
That was so close.
Hitman did such a good solution there, cancelling it. Otherwise, he's locked into his own base for a long time, and he will need to kill the War Mill. So he did the second War Mill. Now you see why his base layout is so good as well, because he's got that opportunity to build a second mill, still keep the seal in, and get that blade. Now, let's not pretend that was cheap or free for Hitman or anything. I mean, he's got 28 food, no tier 2 building on the way yet. You compare that to Cash, he's halfway there with his totem and bestiary. He spent a lot of gold and lumber keeping him in. But the one thing he does have is he's got a much higher level Blade Master.
That's for sure. And the fact is actually that the Shadow Hunter currently is being produced in the Altar of Storms as well, so that delays the revival of the Blade Master even more. Of course, the level 4 Shadow Hunters early on are even more important, but Cash loses another grunt. He tried to be too greedy there, and the ensnares, they're so flickery sometimes, and he's going to lose that second grunt as well. The Windwalk is definitely going to seal the deal, but it's not even needed. And I mean, Hitman's Blade Master at this point, almost level 3, and Cash, I'm not even sure if he got any more experience than the initial creep that he got. But it's just 1 and something against a 3-level Blade Master, almost. It's just a whole world of a difference right now. And the big item, the big invul, also in his possession.
It's pretty insane. I mean, Cash is going to get his supporting units out, a Raider and a Walker. Yeah. But what is he supporting? His hero died. He lost 3 grunts, 600 gold. Blade Masters, 170. That's 870 gold lost. What did Hitman lose? War Mill production and cancel. War Mill production and cancel. Double Burrow production and cancel. He lost maybe 300 gold and about 200 lumber. I mean, that's a good trade for Hitman. And everything that he killed is translated into experience. He's now probably going to get the Shadow. No, he's going to let it get away. He wants to finish those creeps.
Yeah, he wants to finish the creeps. Of course, both Shadow Hunters have hacks in their inventory right now as first ability, but the Shadow Hunter comes back, and that's another easy pickup for Hitman. The Hitman, he's all over the place, getting units and heroes alike, and Cash, I mean, he doesn't even have enough mana for another Windwalk, so that was probably a hopeless situation to be in the first place, but yeah, he gambled, and he took the bait, he took the risk, but he lost it all in that first game. Hitman showing no signs of weakness with fantastic base layout, like Grubby said, and good decision-making with a War Mill locking in and walling off completely. That was just a declaration of war, really, in this BO5. Hitman is here to make amends for his previous loss against Cash in the W3IL.
That game was about a quarter of the length that we waited for Hitman. He could finish this series quicker than we waited for him.
And Cash actually said,
if the next game is 5 minutes.
Yeah. Cash actually saying in the Battle.net chat, he's saying creeps are not kidding. Yeah, the ensnares are pretty vicious in that one.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. Holy heck. So Hitman takes a very confident first victory on that first game here on Echo Isles. Next map is going to be Last Refuge, Cash's first refuge actually. Let's see how that goes. Cash had a really good thing going early. Strategically, and that's where Cash, of course, is strong since he's an experienced player. Yeah. Got that double claws, got the double burrow cancel, but then what? He decided to delay the death of his Blade Master, trying to get out of the War Mill. Hitman's micro was too good. Now, had Cash known that Hitman's micro was that good, you need to feel it as a player, okay? Had he known that, you would move north, then east. Try to move at 90-degree angles to prevent body blocks from blocking you quite effectively. But if you try to move within a shorter angle, kind of mostly eastwards, either northeast, east, or southeast, body blocks are very effective. In the engine, that is Warcraft 3. Only a full 90 degrees away from your preferred direction is how you avoid body blocks. So you go up and then right. And that was kind of the issue there. Both players are ready, so we will be starting this. Had he even got to the War Mill a little bit quicker, he would have got out. So strategically, in terms of the start, it was totally fine and quite good for Cash, but Hitman defeated him in every level afterwards, and Cash made way too many mistakes. He's going to have to play a lot cleaner to be able to challenge Hitman.
Yeah, I think so too. Hitman, he's coming in swinging, and he's looking strong, and maybe all the hard work and dedication, all the preparation that he did over the last couple of weeks is paying off. He's playing in so many cups and tournaments at the moment. He grinds the ladder, he grinds natties like crazy, and Cash is no easy mountain to climb, mind you, but Hitman, we can say the same thing about him. And in fact, I saw somebody in chat asking if there was ever a 3-0 in Fight Night before, and funnily enough, there was, but I think only one or two, and in the last one that we had, Hitman was involved against Effect. It was a human versus orc massacre. Effect took him down quite handsomely back then.
Yeah, that's true. Back then, Hitman was extremely weak against human, and it's right before Lynn started showing various strategies of how orc can best handle human. Either the Farsi or Kodo expansion strategy, or... Actually, that's mostly it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, nor could he have tried to borrow from Kiwikaki, the Headhunter build, that has also taken some good names. But it doesn't look like most players easily go towards that Headhunter build. So far, mostly it seems Kiwikaki's favorite strat, but not really. Yeah, it's not the type of strat that spreads.
It's so funny too, because I remember when I talked to Kiwikaki about that, he was so vocal about it. He really believes with all of his heart that grunts are bad units, and he thinks just headhunters are so much more superior. Yeah, he's so vocal about that. It's really cool to listen to him there in that regard.
As good as headhunters are, they cost 20 lumber a piece, and that's typically why people would not make them. That lumber means slower tech, slower second hero, and slower bestiary and totem, and those units are often key to keep your heroes alive with the walkers and to kill the opponent's heroes. So it's more of a supportive comp that you're getting when you go for grunts. Whereas when you go for headhunters, you're making your army the star and your heroes are the supporting cast. That's why you see Kiwikaki get Farseer, supporting cast, scouting, and blockers with the wolves, and harass, and Alchemist, who has armor debuff, which is a support type of ability, and healing spray, support, and then Shadow Third, support. So whereas most orc players will play heroes as their main thing.
Yeah.
And the units to support, Kiwikaki does it the exact other way around.
Yeah, it's actually a really nice way of thinking about it. I like that. So yeah, we see both players currently scouting each other out. Of course, Hitman in the green, he saw Cash's grunt nearby, so he knew it was not safe to take that creep cam right now. He's trying to shimmy around. His own grunt, of course, saw Cash's Blade Master, so both players should roughly know where the other one is, and both actually have a Dust of Appearance in their pockets. So we're definitely gonna... Yeah.
It's really cool what's happening here, because as soon as someone windwalks in the sight of the opponent, they start to make a mental map of where 20 seconds of windwalking can get you. But if you windwalk outside of the opponent's range, they don't have a lot of information except their their total experience of the past. Hitman is now starting to creep the mage, and somehow, some way, Cash has a read on that. Right. He speed scrolls over and he wants to get here. He has about 5 seconds left of windwalk. I think it's enough to get the steal. Hitman does do a dust, and he will disengage.
Oh, so yeah, counter dust, of course, to keep vision on Hitman's wounded Blade Master. Of course, he was too far away already, but is he going to try and attempt to steal the Ogre Magi? or is he going to leave it be? For now, it looks like Cash wants it. He doesn't even have to use another Windwalk to secure the last hit. He got it, and the item is actually pretty good too. You know,
It's really
icing
good.
on the cake.
Got a Circlet of Nobility
Yeah.
from that. The best item you want to have in this situation. Offers not just damage and survivability, but also more map control in the form of bonus mana, bonus windwalks. So Hitman, I want to say he did a really good laydown here by not going to try and contest again with his Blade Master compromised. Not a lot of heal solves. He was still heal solving. He was spotted with dust. And really, he needs to accept the sunken cost of trying to creep that and getting creep jacked. I really like him not going for it. He's limiting his losses rather than trying to get any wins. Now, make no mistake, Cash is very far ahead. But had Hitman gone in, he could have also lost his Blade Master.
Yeah, it's important to know when you can still commit to a situation or when it's time to not reinforce a failure. And I think Hitman made the right choice. He knew exactly that, yeah, he had to take that L, but it's better to know and take it than to just continue and be stubborn about it. So here we see the mirrored situation right now, this time on the bottom half of the map. First grunt about to fall here for Hitman. Cash takes that life of his opponent's unit, and we have a very similar situation. Unfortunately for Hitman, though, it's once again his own Blade Master that is a little bit far behind in terms of health, but he secures the claws of attack, very important here at this point, and certainly a nice comeback in terms of items.
Yeah, that was pretty well done. He was under heavy stress. He did lose that grunt, but he got both the Ogre Mage and the Claws. Really important to stay in the game. Cash very brazenly starts a creep camp right in front of Hitman, knowing, hey, my Blade Master's the top dog right now. Here's the thing though. Cash finds himself in dangerous waters on the other side of the map, and he knows this is the Shadowhunter timing. After all, they both had the same build. His own Shadow is out, so he knows Hitman's Shadow is going to be out. That gives Hitman enough to finish this camp. Cash, though, he's not going to creep the shop or anything. He knows it cannot possibly be done yet, and he runs in here. Probably going to focus the Shadowhunter with extreme prejudice.
Yeah,
no, he goes for the Blade Master.
Yeah, he goes for the Blade Master. He's so low right now. Of course, Hex on both Shadowhunters once again to provide that extra ounce of crowd control that is so important. But the healing has been dealt onto Hitman. He steals the item. Sorry, he steals the big creep. Doesn't get the item, though, but the experience is his for now. Ring of Protection +3 goes over to Cash. So it's a heated battle in the middle of the map right now. Hexes are being thrown left and right. But so far, it is once again Hitman that has to retreat. Now gets the first Raider in the mix, though. And this one Raider could really make a big difference because the extra CC that is about to happen soon with the End Snare could really make it. However, if, of course, a Hex goes through against that Raider, he becomes the Hunted, and he loses it quite recklessly, just like that. A beautiful 5 units around against the Grunt. So huge. I mean, Cash is just back in the series, Grubby.
Yeah, he killed the Raider, but it was a nice deny from Hitman where he killed it himself. But it doesn't change the fact that he's flooding units into a losing battle and is losing unit after unit. Another deny. I mean, he's losing in the best way possible. he's losing every unit, but not giving experience for most of them. Still, it sucks though, like losing that many units. He ran in the Raider before Ensnare was finished. That's typical, by the way. You want to get your Ensnare as your Raiders on the map already. But most of all, I think Hitman, as much as he had a tough laydown earlier at the top left on the Ogre Mage, he was unable to reproduce that same mindset. Had he walked away, it would be a Hex on the Grunt and 1 Grunt death. Instead, he lost 3. It's quite terrible for him, and Hitman may need to start thinking about how to win by not being able to necessarily force a win. There's no way that he can go for a fight and win now. He might want to do something with Pillage, Speed Scroll, TP, Zeppelin. However, things are about to get worse as Cash runs in here and finds him once again with another Creepjack. He gets the full surround on the Raider. Nice job by Cash.
Yeah, he gets another Raider for his efforts, and I mean, Cash is just really putting in double-time work into this game right now. He finds exactly the units he wants to find. He reads Hitman like an open book right now. It's a little bit unlucky for Hitman, but it was really the only place he could have been at. He had he had an illusion scouting the mercenary camp in the bottom earlier, so he knew Hitman wasn't there. And then the only real logical, location for your opponent to be if he has to play defensively, which Hitman at this point has, was of course the Gobble Laboratory. So, I mean, Cash is just really playing super solid from start to finish.
And at this point, Hitman has a massive lack of gold.
He's locked in.
He's 34 over 50. He's making a war mill, but he's got almost no gold to make any units. Whereas Cash is at 47 food. He's got a Kodo on the way and peons. And this is going to be the death move. The guillotine that comes for Hitman. I don't think there's anything he can do to stop it.
Yeah, I mean, he even gets the raiders in before the heroes can retreat to the safety of Hitman's base. So, I mean, the Shadow Hunter of Hitman, he does have a Hellstone, so he does have a little bit of a panic button here, but really, he has to fight in deep waters at the moment because Cash, he's got the numbers, he's got the levels, and he's got the items on his opponent right now. He's taking unit after unit. The ensnares are good, and yeah, Hellstone has to be used at this point. It's a juicy item, it's an expensive item to use, but it had to be done.
Yeah, Cash tried to go for that assassination before it could be used, but a quick disenchant by Hitman meant that the Hex is gone. He was able to use that. At this moment, though, it's mopping with the tap open. There's a big leak, and he will be unable to stem the flow of that water. It's 2 units versus about 5, 6. Kodo comes in. We could even see some towers going up for Cash with his peons. He certainly has the money for it.
Yeah.
And Hitman here is just trying to make this a little bit more tough fought victory. Something he just wants to do a few things that are annoying to Cash. For example, the triple raider surround that Cash tried on the Shadow Hunter. It was not a full surround. Shadow walked out. Those kind of things can turn itself into psychological warfare for an opponent. Yes, you won, but it didn't look that good. You made micro mistakes. That's the kind of message that Hitman is selling here. Another one, see? Shadow Hunter coming out. That doesn't feel good for Cash.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of maybe like a little bit of self-therapy for Hitman as well, to be like, yeah, I can prevent these things, in the future if only I pay better attention early on. So yeah. And it's not really easy to deal the finishing blow, as you said, Grubby, but I feel Cash is just, he's building a voodoo lounge now in the face of Hitman. He's just playing it patiently. He doesn't have to overcommit and overdo it. And in a world where this turns out into a long, prolonged siege, I mean, the reinforcement distance for units of Cash is still fairly long. So every unit that he loses because of Burrow Fire and Sloppy Micro, is going to hurt him double because reinforcements for Hitman are just so much quicker to arrive.
And that's true. But that's also partly why I said that Cash can make towers so that he can solidify a foothold here in the base. He hasn't done that, and that's why it's taking him a little longer to finish. He still has the raw DPS, but that's now, I think, the 5th time Shadow Hunter got away, either Shadow or Blade. This Blade doesn't have Windwalk. He will go down, so finally Cash gets his money's worth, no pun intended. And that should be the beginning of the end. But didn't look as comfortable. Cash will be equalizing 1-1, but Hitman really wants to make him work for it.
Yeah, Hitman's Shadow Hunter is more elusive than Hitman trying to, or me trying to get Hitman for an interview, man. It's just, he's got it in there, but yeah, he's just fighting over for a couple more seconds, but ultimately, he has to admit that Cash was just reading him like a book, really, in this game, too. So we have ourselves a series, guys. All the naysayers that thought it was going to be a quick 3-0 either way. I'm sorry, not sorry to disappoint you. But it feels good. Yeah. It feels good to really be in the rhythm of this series now, Grubby. It feels really good.
Yep. And we're going to be calling upon our NA host now since the first loss for Hitman has happened. We will be going into Twisted Meadows. The series is 1-1. This is a best of 5. First to 3 victories is the victor. Of course, Hitman is always the victor. That's his real name. But... yeah, so let's go into Twisted Meadows. Now, Twisted Meadows, it has a few interesting components. I wouldn't call it the most predictable or symmetrical map. You've got a 4 spawning location, and top left is by far the best. That sounds wrong, and it kind of is. But here's the thing. If you're top left on Twisted Meadows, you've got 3 options. Play standard, like you would on any other match, any other position. Or you can bait in the rock golem, lock it in and kill it with burrows. Very easy on top left. Possible on every matchup, on every map position, but easiest in the top left. Okay. And the third option is you can do 4 peon micro on the gold mine, which is the same amount of mining as 5 peons. If you keep microing it, it works the best there to a degree everywhere, but the best in the top left on Twisted. And then you can do a 10-second earlier tech for a super lightning fast Farseer Firelord Tower Rush. All of these are options, but these players know that more than anyone. So most likely wherever the players spawn, they'll be scouting top left first in order to try and either come up with a response or do something of near equal value.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You know, how sometimes these tiny little details, they can make such a big difference, whether it's the proximity to a certain creep camp or whether, like Grubby said, it's the fact that you can micro your peons a little bit more efficiently. Really cool stuff. And I really hope that Twisted Meadows, you know, with the number of items, the number of creep spots you have, and the size of the map, it would be so nice to get past that level 1, 2 Shadow Hunter, you know, and maybe like get to the level 3, 4 second hero stage, maybe a third hero in the mix, and just more units, more tech to be unleashed, more upgrades. I just want to see a late game micro fight between those two titans, man. I want to see that.
I feel the same way, Kendrick, because Twisted Meadows is super cool for Orc Mirror late game. There's so many Scourge Bone Chimes, 6 spots that can drop Scourge Bone Chimes or Boots of Quel'Thalas. We've got some cool items like Periaptive Mana on the red spots where the Troll level 6 is, the other spawn locations that gives 300 mana. You've got all these super powerhouse items that are very attractive to try and creep for, to try and obtain. And you can have level 5/5 heroes, Lightning Orb, Tiny Great Hole, but we need to get past that point where a level 2 Blade and a level 1 Shadow are trying to assassinate the other Shadow Hunter.
Yeah. I personally, I just want to see a Pit Lord. I just really want to see a Pit Lord, you know, getting some items going. Any other heroes that we could think of?
Yeah, Shadow Pit Lord is something we could see on Amazonia. We could see it on Terranus Stand. Do we have those maps taking?
No, Terranus was banned, and Northern Isles was banned. I think those are the 2 banned maps today.
Okay, Amazonia could come out, and we might see Shadow Hunter Pit Lord there, but we're very unlikely to see it here. Though I don't think it's terrible per se to go Shadow Hunter first here. Yeah, it could actually be kind of cool, because creeping early game is quite tough on Twisted Meadows.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going on to... Wait, is it Concealed or is it Twisted Meadow now?
Wait. What? Okay, why are they starting right away? It's Twisted, and I said it is. Yeah. So I don't know why everyone is starting right away.
Yeah, players seem to be fine with it.
Hitman, loser map, Twisted, then Concealed. That's what you said. I'm gonna check. Second loser map. Yeah, we have to leave. This is not right.
Yeah, we gotta keep things. I mean, the players don't seem to mind, and sometimes the players they don't really seem to care about. But they set it in a certain order. That's part of the rules.
And we are OCD, and we need to keep it the same way.
Exactly.
I was surprised both players are like, let's go. I mean, it's mirror. Who cares? It's all balanced. Yeah, I mean, I almost felt like we should just let them play, but I agree with you. Like,
yeah, we've never done it before.
He said Concealed last map and Twisted first.
All right.
I mean, that's why we analyzed Twisted Meadows going into this.
That's right. Yeah, guys, I think it's a good time to talk about our bounty once again while we're waiting for the players and the hosts to start the right map. We have current bounty breakdown. You know, you can see the split. If you donate, if you decide to be generous, you know, you walk into this new year 2020 with a good intention of supporting your favorite Warcraft 3 channels a little bit more, then you can do that right now. 30% will go to the champ, 30% to the challenger, and 20% each go to the bounty, which will continue to grow then for the future episodes, of course. And the remaining 20s, they go to production crew and casters. And a lot of times people ask, what's this bounty really good for? It's kind of like a additional source of motivation for players to think really carefully, the champions in that case, if they want to continue. Because at any given point, although no champion has ever done that on Fight Night, they can actually decide to bail out, you know? If we were to present them happy as the next opponent, that would be a good time to probably say, you know what, it was fun while it lasted, but I'm now going to take that bounty and get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, and how much is it at right now?
I think it's around $500-ish. Yeah, 500 and a little something.
Plus. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just waiting for the host. Sorry, our host a little bit more inexperienced. We are changing between 2 regions
All good, all good.
Not sure.
Which is, by the way, one of our running jokes that we keep doing to newer players in the fight night. You know, we always
Happy's
tell them
next.
to new champion. We always say, "Oh, nice! It was really GG." You know, next one, happy.
Yeah, exactly. And people are like, really? Seriously?
Yeah. Everyone falls for it. They keep falling for it. Yeah, let's see if I
Okay,
can.
so the game is up. Same game name as the
Gotcha.
first attempt. Okay, go.
All right, nice. Cool. So this time on the correct map, Twisted Meadows, guys. In here and here to stay. So like Grubby said, you know, it's a very big map, large map. You can have great items, interesting creep routes. Camps are not that easy compared to other maps, you know. So it's going to be a little bit harder for the Blade Master to be aggressive and sneaky early on to snatch away those items. But are we going to see two Blade Masters again? That's going to be the question.
Hitman is doing the rock golem thing. He's definitely going Blade Master. So as I said in the pre-game analysis, the top left is by far the best for the rock golem creep, but I've seen Hitman do it on every location. Now, the reason top left is the best is because you can do it without compromising the safety of your build. Now take a look at Hitman's base, bottom left. It's not very safe. The burrow is exposed and does not cover his peon line, and his barracks is necessarily very far away in order to become a blocking point for the rock golem. So while it is possible everywhere, this isn't very comfortable comparatively. But Hitman clearly is of the philosophy that if an opponent is doing it because they got lucky by getting top left, he must also be doing it. He's a little bit behind against Farseer Harass because his worker line is exposed, but he's playing the odds, saying Cash will probably play Blade Master and I won't be as affected. Later, I'll put a burrow next to my worker line at the gold and I'll be covering the weakness that I'm creating right now. And you know what? His gambit is going to be paying off. Orcs do not scout with peons in Mirror. Therefore, Cash cannot get to this rock golem on time. That means that Cash will be playing with a level 1.0 blade, no shop. He has no shop at the moment. And that means that Hitman will be playing with a level 1.6 blade, almost level 2, getting that rock golem and potentially a very good item. So let's see if Hitman gets it right. I think he's a very precise player, so I don't expect that he will mess this up, and he'll probably be locking in that rock golem.
Yeah, and the chance for Cash to arrive in time is very, very limited. You know, as Grubby said, there's very little scouting information available, and the first scouting location, of course, that orcs tend to go in a mirror here is always the top left, you know? So that's going to cost additional time, and, you know, Hitman is playing it very safely. He's done that several dozens of times in his life, probably even more. So he's locking in the rock golem. He secures one of the biggest items in the early game.
He's doing a new thing. He's doing a new thing. So by keeping moving the grunt to the left and to the right, what he's doing is he's countering the amazing mechanism of Warcraft 3. So here's how it works. Rock Golem is far enough from his creep camp that he wants to return. Just like anyone that has ever played Tower Defense Custom Map in Warcraft 3, the Rock Golem wants to return, he wants to get to this point, but he can't because he's blocked. There is an anti-mazing mechanism in Warcraft 3 where as long as you keep moving back, if you get locked for 3 seconds as a creep, you start fighting again. Instead of trying to get back, you start fighting. Because of that, Hitman kept moving his grunt 2 paces to the right to let the golem believe, to let him hope. Hope dies last. But then he would move it back in to keep the rock golem in place. He kept doing that accordion style to make the rock golem passive, vastly reducing the amount of damage he is taking from the rock golem. This is so cool. He continues to be more efficient with the way he creeps. This is really cool, smart use of game mechanics. So his blade is now very healthy, and he doesn't need to use any heal salves.
Yeah. And what we call cool and fascinating in video games would be very cruel in real life, you know, just giving the glimmer of hope to the golem, just torturing it a little bit more before its certain death.
It's just a game, lol.
Yeah. No, really cool to highlight these details, and I'm sure that's something fellow orc players out there they can definitely learn from. So really cool to see that. And Cash, you know, he was not really successful in his early disturbance. As Grubby said earlier, you have this additional harassing potential, you know, the open peon line with the burrows being so far away, but he wasn't even able to get anything. However, the grunts, they still linger around. There's one defense grunt for Hitman, but how much can these brutes really accomplish here? We see another burrow, by the way, replacement burrow in the top left here, next to the laboratory.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, because he knew he's going to get his burrow cancelled potentially so many times. So he wanted to make sure he can keep making grunts. And that's been quite helpful because you see the other burrow is only just finishing.
Yeah.
There's all these grunts now coming out that otherwise would not have been able to be produced yet. It's cool that Cash is trying to make use of the poor base layout of Hitman. He's trying to do the thing that will work the best for him. He says, yeah, you got no burrow in your worker line. I can continue harassing peons. And that does yield its fruits. If you look at the economy for Hitman, he's got about money for a Shadow Hunter, but that's it for now. No bestiary yet. Certainly not anytime soon. He's starting that totem, but that's about it. Whereas Cash's tech, once again, is faster. And comparing it to previous game, where Cash also had this much faster tech, he lost 3 grunts and a blade.
Yeah.
This game, although he didn't get as much done and he's behind in creeping, he didn't lose a thing. So now the tech advantage that Cash has can actually be brought about to bear upon his opponent if he uses it well.
Yeah, worse in the previous game where Cash had the upper hand in techs, he couldn't really, you know, harvest the fruits of his labor because the game was so decided really to the point where those juicy units, those shiny units, they didn't really matter. Now, there were no early casualties. He can now really bank on the might of his army and his forces later on. However, Hitman, he is now finally stepping out of his base and he catches Cash where it hurts next to the creep camp immediately. Red Blade Master for Cash, very close to dying. Little victory here for Hitman, who steals away a Tomb of Agility. Very nice to have. Twitch chat is going to be very happy about that.
Twitch loves tomes, man. It's like the thing they love the most.
I always keep telling myself when I play Warcraft 3, I keep telling myself that 1 point of strength or agility is going to matter. And I keep giving myself the illusion of these beautiful books to make a big difference.
Kendrick, a learned man. Don't let anyone else say otherwise. No,
yeah, probably my math teacher at grade 6.
Hitman just got a creep steal, a bit of damage on heal self cancels, and he also got that Tome of Agility. And then he took the final 2 creeps remaining. So experience-wise, that was great for him. He's also using his blade. He does get walled in for a bit. But the shadow is there to zone. And Hitman started creeping by now. Cash probably knows this. With where the Shadow Hunter came from, he knows the Overseer is being taken. And he feels that he has enough to fight him, even though he knows he'll probably be too late. He's got that Raider and Walker with Ensnare and Spirit Link much, much faster than Hitman.
Yeah.
This is that tech advantage coming in. This Ensnare nets him a kill, no pun intended.
And this time, it seems like Hitman is not repeating the mistakes that he made earlier. This time, he decides to let the Grunt die, to not send in units and heroes to save the last man behind, you know. So both players really just learning from their mistakes earlier and just refining their gameplay. It's so cool to see how these situations that we had before are now being solved by the players much more handsomely. And it's really cool to see. This, I think, could be the game that takes us longer into the game than just a level 2 Shadow Hunter, you know, this time.
Yeah, we're nearly at that point already. The Shadow Hunters are level 1.5 and no Blade Master has died yet. Ah, Sobi Mask for Hitman, fantastic item. What did Cash get? He got a Wand of Mana Stealing, really, really good and kind of underrated item. That's a 200 mana advantage between your Shadow and the opponent's.
Yeah, he also has the Flute of Accuracy, of course, coming into play. Not really for the majority of units. Kodos, Spirit Walkers, they could benefit of it. Shamans, if he wants to go that route.
Shadow Hunter himself is okay.
Yeah, Shadow Hunter a little bit.
And Blade Master Lightning Orb against air. But you generally don't go air in Orc Mirror.
Yeah. So if Cash ever finds himself in a need of, you know, getting additional gold very fast, he's likely going to sell that. Hitman, by the way, could not steal this item away in time. So,
did he not?
Or did he actually steal it? Oh, yeah, he actually stole the ring. I was wrong. That's right. He got it.
Yeah, I think so. He got the item, but he did not feel like compromising his safety by revealing Windwalk. Oh, this is nice damage on the Blade Master, who has no potion of invulnerability. Cash is not really taking this seriously. He goes for a very slow hex. I think he was building something in his base, maybe a Coda or bringing his peons. That's it, he's bringing peons now. So he was looking at them. And now, oh, the Rock Golem with the boulder on the Shadow Hunter. Cash runs in, but was still getting harassed by the Rock Golem. Cash accidentally pulls the Rock Golem camp into himself. Once again, grunts, Walker's Shadow, another boulder on the Shadow Hunter. And still, Cash is fighting. Still, he is pressing onwards, getting that first Raider, but he's low. And if he was able to get away with everything here, he could consider himself very, very lucky indeed. There goes down a Walker. Hitman chasing. Will we get another grunt? No Raiders available right now because they got mixed.
Yeah, and Hitman is bringing out his own peons, of course, for Spirit Link and maybe a counter attack. This was a very vicious situation for Cash to really be in. You know, fighting on two fronts is never a smart choice in Warcraft 3, and you know he had to use a lot. I think he used one healing scroll. He had to use the Wand of Mana Stealing there as well.
Both charges, yeah.
Yeah, and the Sobi Mask is just, at this point, so good for Hitman, you know. Every time he wins a fight like that, he's going to have those impactful Shadowhunter spells more quickly, again, recharged. So this is basically his situation to assess right now. I love the fast, far-forward Blade Master, you know, to really scout if Cash wants to go and fight another day, or if he's now trying to creep something else. So yeah, Cash, he had to use a lot of money, really, for that blunder, for that creep jack.
True. And the Blade is a great scout, like you said. Great anchor point for Hitman, because it has 10 armor and nearly 1,000 life. That baby won't die in a jiffy. And I'm not sure if Cash is misguided trying to fight here. The quality of his items is lower. He's still hurt, and it's 50v50. I don't see him winning this. They both go for each other's Raider. First Raider for Cash will go down immediately. Hitman gets an eat with his Kodo. That's a 2-unit advantage for Hitman. Can he save his Raider? It's blocked. It won't be able to be saved. 2 for 1 for Hitman.
Yeah, that was the level 3 that Cash didn't have at the beginning of this fight. Also, of course, it makes a big difference, these hero levels. But now we have an equalizer here. There's peons on both sides, and now it's basically a hunt for the Kodos. A lot of those Kodos have eaten grunts or Raiders. So getting rid of this additional damage source and freeing your own units is so of pivotal importance right now. Healing waves, of course, are fling, but look at the mana, Grubby. Cash is completely dry. Shadowhunter has no mana points to work with anymore, whereas Hitman has plenty of resources left. He's getting more and more units. The experience is looking good. Level 3 Shadowhunter for Hitman right now, and this is another battle that goes in the favor of the NA player.
Yeah, and Hitman killed about 4 units if you count the grunt and the Kodo.
Right.
Cash killed about 3, so it is a 1-unit advantage. But Hitman also has a Shadowhunter level 3 right now with loads of mana. He killed 2 peons. Do we count them as units? A little bit, I suppose. Maybe count them as 1 unit, 2 peons. So that was definitely a win for Hitman. Any advantage you have, though, when you're over 50 food, must be used quickly. Look at Hitman. He's 54 against 48. If you don't use it quickly, you're going to lose up so much gold in the long run because of upkeep that you could just fall behind again. So Hitman has to attack, and he is attacking with a lot of mana on his Shadow. This could be the death blow for Cash.
Yeah, and every point of experience really matters at this point. I love Hitman's target prioritization, really taking every unit, even if it's just a peon or 2, he takes them away from Cash. He is now trying to get closer to the shop. Invul is available. Healing scrolls, let's see if he got any. Actually, there's a lot of invuls on Hitman's Blade Master right now, a smaller one and the bigger one, and the healing scroll also went over to the Shadowhunter.
Yep, Shadowhunter on Hitman, as a healing scroll on Hitman Shadow. 57 food, he's throwing down Voodoo Lounge. He's finally getting Berserker Strength. He's got 20 lumber, so that took him a while.
Yeah.
Now, and Snare. Kodo on the first grunt. That's a 1-unit advantage for Hitman. And Cash is trying to kill that Kodo, get back his unit, and the Burrow is helping.
Yeah, the Burrow's actually shooting at that Kodo, very well observed, and yeah, this is really making a big difference right now. But the Raiders of Cash, they're all bruised and battered, and these forces of Hitman are just overwhelming. But that one Burrow is really shooting with 4 peons inside. That makes quite for a nice additional damage support in the backline. But is it really going to matter? The Spirit Walker numbers are superior. The levels and the mana resources on the heroes of Hitman are just looking so good. Everything is in the reds. You know, Scroll of Healing is being forced out. Cash is not just giving this over without putting up a little bit of a fight here himself.
Yeah, he's got his Shadowhunter, the shop is intact, the Burrow is helping, Shadowhunter level 3 with a mana pot. However, what you often see is when the quality of the opponent's army is better, they've got a little bit more damage.
Yeah.
You start getting big survivability issues. Sounds pretty obvious, right? But generally, you see everything dropping to red, to orange for the losing player, and suddenly they realize they cannot stay here any longer. That Blade Master's putting out a lot of damage, and he's so fearless because he's got 11.2 armor. He's going right for the Shadow Hunter. It'll take ages to take down Hitman's Blade Master, and he knows it, so he's using it as a massive lightning rod.
Absolutely, and at this point, you don't even have to worry about getting Hex anymore because Cash doesn't want to use Hex at this point. He wants to save all the mana for healing waves, but it doesn't even matter anymore. Hitman takes the lead 2-1 once again with a well-thought-of attack here with a nearby Voodoo launch that was really the nail in the coffin, you know, replenishing your heroes and healing your units this close to your opponent's base, who's already, you know, kind of tripping and falling over nearly. That was just really well played by Hitman once again, and I think it was really cool to see, like we said earlier, you know, he learned from his mistakes. He didn't overreact to that one grunt getting ensnared. He played it calm and collectedly against the tech advantage that Cash had. And Cash, he fought like a lion, but it was just not enough.
Cash's quick tech and his harass against the worker line yielded him some disruption of economy. But Hitman's knowledge of where Cash is going to be remains good. Hitman plays very aggressively. In the era of 2006 until 2009, as I said, this is where Cash got most of his playing experience, just like I did, and we practiced a lot together. The game pace was a lot slower. People were gentlemen in Orc Mirror. Orcs were still gentlemen. You would both creep your side of the map, and that's how it was. But with things like the Rock Golem creep camp, Hitman hits his stride really early with a small lead, and he continues to leverage it. So Cash will need to give proper respect to how quickly Hitman is across the map and guesses correctly where Cash is. And that really, really helped Hitman here. And Cash he couldn't find his footing. He had to take advantage. It gave him some kills, but it was not enough. Blade Master for Hitman was out of control.
Yeah.
We're in game 4. You're ready? Gonna start the game.
And Grubby, we're taking a ticket to Amazonia, and you said it before, this is one of the prime Shadowhunter maps. If you want to go for that Shadowhunter Pit Lord style, or just want to play around with a different hero, you could potentially do it here. There's good creeping spots available early on, plenty of good items to choose from, and it just goes very, very nice with the flow. You know, you make sure there's a constant stream of experience. You don't have to walk around as much. The creep camps are so close to one another. So I wonder if we're going to see some variation here from either of the players.
Yeah, it could be Shadow Pit. I'm trying to think. Both of these players are quite standard players usually. I don't know if they would. Like, I would expect it from, for instance, Spiral or Kiwikaki to alternate their hero choice. We may just see double Blade Master here. But let's see, you know.
True.
Shadow Pitlord is very strong here, and the way to counter Shadow creeping is to send a Peon Scout. So let's see if either of those things are happening, Kendrick.
Yeah, I think what speaks in favor of just, you know, sticking to the Blade Master and sticking to the guns you know that work is, first of all, Cash, he said it multiple times himself, he doesn't play that much or as much as he used to. Oh, actually, he proves me wrong right there. The Caster Curse. We see the Shadow Hunter, and both of them do it, Grubby.
So unlike in a MOBA, you can hire shops. You can hire shop heroes from the tavern. The same one. You're not picking and counter picking or denying. They can both go for the Pit Lord, and they will. They will. I mean, let's say, okay, maybe we'll see the first Shadow Beastmaster play, recreating the campaign Orc campaign experience, Rokan and Rexar, but probably not. Probably it will be that Pit Lord. Let's talk about why, Kendrick.
Yeah, so Pit Lord, of course, I mean, he's just a real late game beast, and especially with the Shadow Hunter, you know, you talked about how heroes become the carries in Orc armies, and I think there is hardly any hero in the game that embodies the word carry and, you know, late game devastation more than the Pit Lord with you can weaken your opponent's units. He's always in the front line, of course. With Cleave and strong items, you're going to decimate. With Spirit Link, you deal even more AoE damage around him. And then, of course, who's the perfect enabler for this play? It's the Shadow Hunter with strong healing, with Hex, and just overall really good safe play. You know, he has that frontliner, then that tank, so he doesn't really see that much pressure himself. So yeah, I feel these two, they just synergize really well against all those bulky orc units in a mirror.
Exactly. So you get your support, you get your tank, you get your damage. What more do you want? You'll make a bunch of basic units to enable them. It is not atypical for Shadow Pitlord players to do a double burrow opening instead of a fast tech. You can see both players did do exactly this. And to spam grunts pretty much. Like a beginning Warcraft player. 5 grunts, 6 grunts. Because really you want just raw damage output and tankiness. Those grunts will help your Shadow and your Pitlord creep very fast. A Shadow with little grunt support is not very useful. If you've got a lot, once the Pitlord comes out, you're going to start taking orange camps like that.
Yeah, absolutely true. And every claw of attack that you find here, even Ring of Protections, they're so good for the Pitlords later on. You know, we're going to see a lot of these players transferring items at tier 2. So the Pitlord gets the crispiest and the shiniest items in the world there. And both players really just take very similar routes, although Cash trying to go a little bit more into the heavy camping, whereas we see Hitman take the smaller camp first to prevent a little bit of damage here. But smart lightning shield creeping as well, really dealing as much damage onto the neutral creeps as possible. Shouldn't lose one of those grunts. The ranged brigands are still firing. Oh, the healing self is cancelled. Oh, so close.
I'm sorry, that just really shocked me. He accidentally walked the grunt in even as he sidestepped with Shadow, so the heal self got cancelled. However, yeah, that was a risky creep a little bit. But he got the... Okay, this item sucks, by the way, Ruined Bracers. But the experience he got from it is good. Had he known he would get Bracers, maybe he would have liked to creep the exact same way that Hitman is doing. Because Hitman got a Gauntlet of Strength, and now he's going to get something like a Circlet or a Glove. Love the way that he pulled the creep camp here, by the way. Yeah. Cash does not know. A Circlet, that's the best for Hitman. So Hitman is now full mana, 375.
Yeah, it's nighttime, so it's very safe to assume that Cash didn't see what was going on, so he expects this camp to still be up. We see Serpent Wards, by the way, and an early burrow attack for Hitman, who says, Cash, I'm going to grab you where you least expected, and with the additional piercing damage from the Serpent Ward, he's taken down the first Orc Burrow. There's no TP. The people usually sell that in an Orc Mirror.
I had no idea he was going for Serpent Wards. I don't have the on-screen display.
I didn't even check it. I didn't expect it.
It's certainly not typical. He got a 1 burrow kill. Is it going to end up being worth it, though? No Hex is actually really, really smart here. It does almost nothing in this matchup. It does mean his heal wave is only level 1 right now, but as soon as Shadow gets level 4, it's right where he needs it to be. So that was cool. He got a burrow, and what does that mean? No Pitlord right now for Cash.
That is true, and he even lost another grunt there, Cash, that is. He had a little bit of a miss micro there, and these snake shots, they really deal the nice early damage that really make a difference. He's trying to go for a surround attempt, Hitman that is, but just squeezes out, that is, and there's still 1 Berserker for Cash, so it's not like he has vastly inferior forces, but these snakes, they're higher in number, and they deal a little bit more damage over time, and they're just so cheap to cast.
Now here's the thing, Cash finishes 3rd burrow. Again, he has hired a Pitlord, and Hitman is sitting on 900 gold. He does not have a unit at the tavern. He could have bought the Pitlord 50 seconds ago. Just let that sink in for a sec. This snake attack is not a multi-layered strategy. He has not thought about how... And he will get another grunt. Cool stuff. Really cool stuff. Yeah. But still, this isn't 100% working as it should. With the Pitlord being this late, 1100 gold, I almost feel like we're watching a desynced Walk TV replay, but we're not. This is live. It is not a desync. He will try to get enough lumber, and we'll go with the Pitlord very, very belatedly. He's got enough lumber now. There we go. Quite inefficient. Though you could say, with all the grunt kills he got, Kendric, there is a 15% bonus XP for getting kills when you're single hero. That has given him a higher level Shadow Hunter. Was it intentional? I don't dare to say. I will say it's possible that he delayed it. Surround attempt, not successful.
Yeah, it's hard to say really, as you said, Grubby. It's level 2 snakes, by the way, so these things were really designed to deal, you know, that much early game damage onto the unit roster of Cash. But now, it's Hitman's second hero, the Pitlord, who's in a little bit of trouble. Just in time, with the last point of mana, he saved this boy. And now, of course, reinforcements have arrived. We see the first Spirit Walkers to trickle in. We see some Raiders. But
Crash got his clarity cancelled by walking his shadow into the creeps first. By the way, if you're wondering why no one is casting Howl of Terror, it's always cleave first. It creeps better. It does more damage.
And now we see the ensnares, man. We see more and more ensnares and more grunts of Cash falling. This is juicy experience. And really, I mean, Cash's forces were decimated a little bit with that snake attack early already. And every unit that he now loses, of course, opens the base a little bit more. And when it comes to sieging Grubby, I feel like Hitman has the upper hand. He can always fall back into those snakes. And Cash can't just really afford to lose anymore at this point.
Yeah, he's got kind of awkward items for the Pit Lord as well. I mean, it's cool. 9 armor. Pit Lord has pretty low armor stat. But really, you want damage because all the items that deal damage are amplifying your cleave damage. It is taking your grand total damage output, not your base, but with items included. So what Cash needs right now is he needs to get a creep camp that drops him some sweet. Maybe he gets this mercenary camp and gets a gauntlet, a belt of strength +6, giving health and damage and health regen. That's what he wants from here. Alternatively, possibly a Scourge Bone Chimes to get some healing sustain. But I really think +6 strength, and I almost never say this, would be his dream.
Yeah.
And it's armor. More protection.
Well, the thing is, if Cash can use his Pit Lord as that front liner, and these armor points are definitely going to come in handily, but of course, like Grubby said, it's totally true. You want the killing potential. You want to be able to punish your opponents when they go in that recklessly. And if you compare the items here, Hitman's Pit Lord, he's a little bit happier right now. You know, he's got the claws, he's got the Circlet of Nobility, and if he finds himself surrounded and focused too much, he has plenty of protection with that greater healing. So, yeah. Level 3, though, almost for Cash's Pit Lord. What's the status on Hitman here? Yeah, he was actually able to creep his Pit Lord a little bit better. Cash is.
Same mistake Cash made before. I don't want to call it a mistake per se. Hitman is making this happen, but it's the same situation, let's say. Cash leisurely expects a gentlemanly game, starts creeping, does not cover his flank, does not scout. Hitman creep jacks and gets 2 units already. This is an amazing play by Hitman. Aggressive in all the right ways, and he's leading this all the way to a victory, most likely.
At some point, you have to question the decision-making from Cash, though. There's not really, well, there weren't really many creep camps left, so it was kind of good to read for Hitman as to where his opponent could be. And you lost so many units early already, you can't afford to get caught in the open. By the same token, though, you need to get something done. You know, you need to take a risk sometimes to find your way back into the game. That's what Cash was trying to do. And here are the 2 Pit Lords hammering their glaives into one another. But it looks like Hitman has the numbers. Once again, his Coda a little bit puffed forward. He micros it back right now. Drops another last-second healing wave. And it is the NA player. It is Hitman, the challenger, the former champion of Fight Night, who's currently on his path to victory. These snakes, by the way, ludicrous DPS in those fights.
Yeah, exactly. Just the whole snake gameplay plan to unbalance Cash and to get ahead in a mirror matchup that could end up going very even-steven. It's just really, really nice from Hitman. His Shadowhunter's now level 4, so he's got these majorly useful spells leveled up. His macro has been a little bit less good. There's no 6th burrow here. He's stuck at 50, but that's all he really needs. And he's got gold in the bank for his retirement. Yeah. It's also what he'll be winning with this fight night. $200. He gets the victory. 3-1 for Hitman. Cash has been dethroned, and Hitman will be the new victor here in Fight Night for the 2nd time around, our first returning player.
That is very true. He really just made it happen, and it's not like, you know, he was overly lucky or he abused a certain strategy. It was really just his cookie-cutter clear battle plan from start to finish. His adaptation there as well. You know, he ironed out some of the mistakes that he made earlier. He always seemed to know where his opponent was. He read the map very smartly. And that's, if I remember correctly, Grubby, that was something we praised about Hitman in his previous games, you know, when he faced off opponents like Effect and Co. You know, he was always there. He was always in the minds of his opponents, really, I felt like.
It's playing experience. It's practice. It's not just practice, but it definitely needs a lot of practice. And it's taking practice and having a valuable asset on top of your neck that can remember it, that can build around that can make decisions around that. And I definitely think Hitman has that whole package. He's played a very good game today, 3-1 victory over Cash. And I wonder who could stop him next time. Is it time to bring Effect back? The one that eliminated Hitman last time? Or do we find someone else?
I think Effect is he actually still playing? I think he retired.
Ending on a high, defeated Hitman, I'm done. Back to feeding my 4 children and my 2 dogs.
The Swedes are actually the countrymen of Effect. They're having a nice LAN at the moment. I saw Matt Frog and Knopf and the boys, practicing a little bit together. Pretty cool. And I just confirmed, guys, we're doing something new this fight night. We're having a premiere. We're getting a winner's interview with Hitman for a couple of questions that Grubby and I can ask him. And I think in this matchup, it's really nice to talk about his decision making. I think both played a really nice game, but it was just the tiny differences, the tiny advantages that we saw on Hitman's side. And we're going to ask some questions about him or about the games here while hopefully I'm going to be able to set the scene up here. Let's see.
Okay.
I got a picture prepared just in case. Here we go. So now we're going to invite him to the call. Okay, this is now going to look a little silly.
Yo.
You're probably going to have to reactivate your webcam, Grubby.
Oh, okay.
On Discord.
Hey, yo.
Hey, what's up, Hitman?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Good? All right. Congratulations on your victory, and thanks for coming back, man, into the fight night. I'm not sure if you knew, but we asked the players or the viewers out there as to which opponents they want to see in the future, and your name was mentioned multiple times. So how does it feel to be back in the show, dude?
Well, I can't say I'm surprised, but thank you for having me back on.
Oh, he's one of those. So, Hitman, how does it feel that the closest you were to being eliminated was us being long-winded with our speaking? Because you were seconds away from disaster, ending up so late to join the match.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize it was starting so soon. I was spamming a bunch of custom games against other org players, trying to get some practice in, but didn't keep track of the time and almost missed it. Sorry for the wait, but I made it in time, so it's all good.
Well, we had actually already called out your default loss. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were just like, I was like, okay, so the moment I finished my speech about it, we're just going to end the stream, and then you showed up with a message and we were like, okay, let's get the crowd. Let's please the crowd and give them a game that they came for.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries.
It's okay. We'll wait for Twitch chat to see if your apology is accepted. But your first step towards redemption was your stellar play tonight. Really nice series. Congratulations. I would like to ask you about Echo Isles. You open up with the full 3-3-3 creep camp top left, and Cash went for the double clause of attack, burrow, cancel. You had a slick base layout. How did you feel when you went for your burrow? Did you know how it was going to end?
Yeah, I've been in that position a bunch of times. Did he kill the ogre and one trapper, or did he just get the item?
Just one. Spent a few seconds stationary at the marketplace and got the claws and then went.
Okay, yeah, I thought he was a little bit late for just the ogre creep, but yeah, the base layout is really important. I've faced this build a bunch of times. It's what everyone does on Netties in Orc Mirror on this map, so it's really annoying. So I've had a lot of practice against it. So yeah, the double Warmill wall off is key to holding that sort of harass.
Not only that, but because he had the fortune and decision making to get the double clause of attack, you would have seen your fish get out of the net had you not done exactly that many seconds of body blocking with the grunt without any space leeway to.
Oh yeah, that was pretty slick.
Yeah, that was pretty slick. Gotta agree there. So good job. From that moment onwards, he started giving you extra kills, and there was really no way back. From that.
I got so lucky with the ensnares. It felt so good seeing his grunts get ensnared. I was pretty happy.
Well, Blade Master can't get ensnared, so you had that working for you.
All right, man. So Hitman, whenever I looked up our Discord group, because I wanted to type something or just in general, I saw you play the game. You're grinding netties, you're practicing a lot, you're competing in several tournaments and cups at the moment. Do you have any plans, in the future when Reforged comes out, maybe to go even more into the pro scene and, becoming even more invested as a pro gamer, maybe as a streamer as well on the side? What are your plans for the future with the upcoming release of Reforged?
Honestly, I'm not really sure. I guess I'll have to wait and see how Reforged looks once it comes out. But I don't see myself quitting this game anytime soon. I've been playing Warcraft since I was like 10 years old. It's just too fun to quit. But
How old are you now? Sorry.
23.
Oh. How long have you been playing Warcraft?
I think I started back. I think I started playing custom games when like a few years after Warcraft came out, but I didn't start playing ladder until like 2008, 2010-ish. So I played a little bit then, and then I quit, and then I came back about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, small StarCraft 2 escapades, right?
Yeah. StarCraft is fun, but it's nothing compared to Warcraft. But yeah, once Reforged comes out, I think I'll still keep playing this game. As for becoming a pro gamer, I'm not really too sure about that. I mean, I do play a lot right now, but I don't know if I'm ready to be a pro gamer for Warcraft yet. Like, I'm gonna have to see, I guess, how popular it is and how many people play it once it comes out.
Great stuff.
In game 2 on Last Refuge, your lowest point.
Oh my god, I messed up the priest trick. That was so bad. I windwalked too early, and I like AFK'd at the shop for like 3 seconds, and then it ran out like right before I hit the priest. And I ran a bunch of practice games, but like I never messed up the trick, so I just kind of like screwed myself, and I didn't really know what to do. And then I went for his gold.
Weakened you mentally?
I was definitely thrown off by that, and I kind of just didn't really know what to do. I went for his gold mine. I knew I was gonna get jacked, but I went for it anyways. I was just like, I'm gonna take a risk and do whatever. But yeah, it was pretty bad.
I complimented your ability to lay down the Ogre Mage in the top left because you knew a still heal solving blade with very little windwalks left. Shouldn't try to go for the steal again, especially since you were still dusted of appearance. But that same level of let's say, patience and safety didn't seem to extend itself later when he started going for your grunt, getting a seemingly nasty but innocent hex, and you kept feeding more units. It didn't seem like yourself.
Yeah, I from the get-go, I was just kind of thrown off my game. I felt like at that point, I shouldn't have contested the gnolls. I should have, since all my units were high health, I should have let him get that camp and go back to my lab and creep that instead. Because, yeah, it's kind of hard to explain, but I think that would be the better play.
Yeah, probably. I mean, his tech was a little faster, and your first raider doesn't have a snare yet, so it was tough. But you rallied really well in Twisted Meadows, where you use your signature. I don't care what position it is. I'm gonna click the rock on him anytime, anywhere. And you got a nice little lead there. And you resisted his harass on the exposed worker line really well with the outside burrow as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was actually expecting him to harass me. Did he go for a 2 burrow tech, or is that 1 burrow?
2 burrow, no shot.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I was expecting it, so I was prepared with the burrow, like off to the side. I did lose a peon, which kind of sucked, but it was okay in the end. I feel like opening with the lab creep is definitely the best play no matter what. It doesn't matter what position you're on. I think it's just too good not to go for.
You made a good case for it.
Yeah.
Then the final game, Amazonia. You're both going Shadow Pitlord, but you had a surprise in store for us.
Yeah, the wards. Okay, Orkmir in 2020 is ridiculous. It's absolutely crazy. I didn't think he was gonna go for it as well. I thought he was gonna play Blade and try to counter me. But yeah, so I went for like a different creep route because I was expecting him to jack me with Blade, but he ended up going Shadow Hunter anyways, so it was kind of less optimal.
Yeah.
But the better thing to do when
would it have worked better against Blade Master? Is that what you'd say?
It's hard to say. It's just Well,
He
my
was
creep
playing-
out would
You
have
were playing it
worked.
safer, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I was playing
you're doing
safer
this-
to dodge the Blade
Mhm.
Master.
The safe troll and then the kobold, and he's going for the double lightning shield, which is
Yeah,
signature on
yeah.
Terran's stand, and you can do it here on Amazonia as well. But he didn't get a good item, Ruined Bracers. In the end, you got better item. Circlet and Guns of Strength was more useful
was
than the
pretty
Ruined
nice.
Bracers.
Yeah, and also if you're playing Shadowhunter Pit Lord and you hit level 3 without being harassed, going for level 2 wards is really, really good. And I was also right next to his base, right as I hit 3, so that timing, I guess, just straight up won me the game.
Have you practiced that a lot?
Yeah, I pretty much play it every game on Terran Stand and Amazonia.
Do you ever get your Pit Lord in time? You play that opening?
I actually have never done the ward harass on Amazonia because
That's what I'm
this is-
asking.
I've never done it on that map, so like I wasn't ready to buy my hero from the tavern. I should have gotten a Fire Lord with the peon and just pushed him. Because if you hit level 3, you can just go for a Fire Lord Tower Rush and end the game right there.
Oh yeah, that would have been really cool.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Really cool game and a lot of nice innovations. Where do you get your inspiration? Replays, streams, or self-study?
If I'm watching replays, it's pretty much only Lin. Lin is like the perfect orc player, so everyone can learn from him. But in terms of like the Shadowhunter Pit Lord strategy, it's pretty common on NetEase. A lot of people play it. It's kind of falling out of style recently because people have been trying to figure out different ways to counter it. But I'm still a pretty big fan of it.
You showed some stellar play today. Congrats on the victory. We're gonna try and find your match in 2 weeks from now in Fight Night number 19.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again. I definitely wasn't expecting to be brought back, but I'm really happy for it.
That's awesome. How good is your Orc vs Undead, Hitman?
Are you giving me an undead next week? I'll be so happy. I will be
Kendrick,
so happy.
Christmas is over. Let's do a human.
Please.
All right. Even if it was happy, would you accept it?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. That's the most confident response we had to a potential happy thread yet.
True.
Happy is not on my level.
Okay, that's true for a lot of people, but which way do you mean it? Just to be clear.
I'm on my own level. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. The jury is out on exactly how he meant it, but I think we all know.
Yeah. All right, man. Hitman, thank you very much for coming on the show and, taking your time for this interview as well. And for the next Fight Night, man, I'm going to make sure you do not escape me for the pre-game interview. We're going to get that done finally. But yeah, thanks for playing and congrats on your win once again.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
Cool. Yeah, man, Grubby, I think we had ourselves a nice series, didn't we? We saw some nice finesse, just getting more min-maxing out of those orc openings, especially on Twisted. I think that golem trick was cool. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the game as well. Of course, if you want to see a certain player, you can always tweet at Grubby, myself, or Heroes Hearth, with your favorite player suggestions. It worked well with Hitman. We had one hell of a mirror match here. And of course, if you have anything else, any other feedback, or any other comments, you can always contact us. It's a real pleasure to bring these games to you and interact with you guys. I think we're going to leave the final words to Grubby before we close the show. And one final word that I want to get rid of. Once again, Happy New Year. And if you want to check out the VOD, if you came in a little late, and you missed game 1 or 2, there's always our YouTube channel, youtube.com/HeroesHearth Warcraft 3 WC3.
Kendrick, was lovely to cast with you today and a really cool series. I liked our first returning player experience.
Yeah.
I liked the first mirror matchup as well. And I'm looking forward to the second Fight Night of 2020, where Hitman is going to face someone. I think we kind of worked ourselves into a corner here. I don't think we can go anywhere else than the gauntlet that has been slapped in the direction of Russia. We had Cash dealing with American player after American player, Cruncher and Hitman. Now is Hitman, after dispatching with one Russian player, wanting another Russian opponent in Happy. I don't know if we can go anywhere else. We'll have more information for you who that is going to be next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great weekend and have a great 2020. See you next time.